Holy fucking shit.
I'm afraid! Alright? You wanna hear me say it? You wanna break me down? Alright, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
I'll make this quick. So I'm sitting at the charging station, charging up middle of the week. The Dow Jones right now is at 40,608. So supposedly, this morning when Trump announced that he was going to do reciprocal tariffs or whatever, but he was specifically going to tariff China, apparently it caused the entire stock market to jump up. So basically, the Dow Jones rose like 3,000 points just today. So if you look at it, what is this, one day, the low today, or I should say the open was 37,387, and the high was 40,778, and right now we're at 40,608. So it says the Dow surges over 2,900 points. So at its peak, it was 3,000 points. Nasdaq surges 12% to record best day since 2001. S&P 500 climbs after Trump pauses tariffs for most countries. Now, here's the thing. You'd have to see, the problem is you'd have to absolutely be very short-sighted to think that the tariff idea was going to work. It was never going to work. I'll just say it just like that. He used it mostly as a threat. I think a lot of people didn't take him seriously that he was going to implement it, but it was just a threat, and now he's forced to back down. I'll say that I personally believe that he's going to have no choice but to back down on the tariff against China, because ultimately China makes all our shit. I think it's becoming clear that you can't beat China at this point. I was looking at something. It was saying basically that China, because of the positioning that they have around the world, China without militarism is going to go into all of these countries, and they're going to make trade partners with all these countries. I've been saying that for a long time, that this electric vehicle push to make us have electric vehicles in general, I've been saying for a very long time that these electric vehicles aren't really about electric vehicles. It's about the new digital infrastructure for the future of the world. Electricity, charging cars, all of that stuff, the digital infrastructure for electric vehicles, all of it is about data collection. These cars have a lot of data, user data of various types. The future, I believe that most of these car manufacturers understand that they're not going to be able to sell us stuff like they used to sell us. They're going to have no choice but to rely on subscriptions, and that's how they're going to be able to make their money on us when we buy a vehicle from them. I think most of these automobile manufacturers by now have realized we're going to probably be buying fewer cars than we've bought before. So they're going to be able to sell us maybe one or two cars in the period of time where they might have used to be able to sell us three or four. People are holding on to cars longer. Cars on the road are aging. And I really personally believe, especially with the cost of insurance going up, that that's possibly what they're getting ready for. I also possibly believe that data collection is the new big thing. So Elon Musk, data collection, that's the big thing with them. Doge, whatever, it's the big thing with them about having access to data, knowing who's who, knowing what your buying preferences are. So I believe all of this stuff is interconnected. So as they're saying, it says stock market today, that was a 3,000 point rebound. We're not supposed to be having these massive swings. And that's the problem. When you have massive swings like that, that's volatility. The stock market is never supposed to be that volatile. Only with some massive political movement do you get volatility on those levels. And we're just not supposed to be there. I'm pretty sure that behind closed doors, they're talking to Trump. They're like, yo, listen, this tariff shit is never going to work. China is never going to back down on these tariffs. It's not going to work. And the reality is, all it's doing is you're probably going to, at best, convince these other countries, like these European countries, to go 0 for 0. So in the past, a lot of these countries had tariffs on our products. by doing this threat, basically what he's done is he convinced a lot of these Europeans to come to the table because they realize that they want to be able to sell their shit in America and they don't want the price massively jumping. So it looks like this was a threat, or basically you're playing chicken, and the other side blinked. The Europeans blinked. However, I do not believe China is going to blink on this one. China is in the catbird seat in this case. They are trade partners with just about everybody else. America cannot bully other countries into not trading with China. See, we did that shit with Venezuela. We did it with Cuba. We did it with North Korea. But China's a totally different beast. China is virtually in every single country in Asia and Southeast Asia. Just about, they're everywhere. Chinese money is everywhere. So in my analysis at this point, it feels to me like Trump was playing chicken with all the rest of the world. He crashed the stock market on purpose. And now a lot of these countries are forced to drop the tariffs that they have on our goods just so we won't put tariffs on their goods. That's how it looks to me. What did they say? They said the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped up by almost 3,000 points on Wednesday, while the Nasdaq Composite had its best day in 24 years after President Donald Trump's 90-day pause on most reciprocal tariffs and a surprisingly strong Treasury auction. The Dow rose 2,962 points, or 7.9%, to close at 40,608, based on preliminary data. Of course, right now it's 448. Right now, so that means the market just closed about 18 minutes ago. The S&P 500 rose 474 points. The Nasdaq Composite jumped 1,857 points. I typically do most of my data based on the Dow, and that's because my index is basically the Magnificent Seven. My index is Mangoat, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, oil and gas stocks, and then Amazon, AMD, and Tesla's at the end of it, but I also have like Micron, Intel. The bottom line is the reason why I pay mostly attention to the Dow is because when the Dow goes up, my entire portfolio, both of them go up. But when the Dow goes down, my portfolio, both of them goes down. So I don't really pay attention to the Nasdaq, and I really don't pay attention to the S&P 500. They're really, again, these are just composites. And they track a handful of stocks, but for the most part, they don't tell the overall health of the entire stock market. The reality is most of the stocks that make up the stock market, the reality is most of them are not moving. Most of those stocks are stagnant. The Magnificent Seven happens to just be one of those cases where you can actually watch those, and they, as it goes up and down, people talk about it and make news out of it. But the reality is that doesn't represent the entire stock market, and it also doesn't represent Main Street. Most of the stocks, I'll say, that aren't the super performing stocks, most people probably didn't even sell out of those stocks. Most people have probably bought dividend-paying stocks, cereal companies, toilet paper companies, Johnson & Johnson. Most people, they're probably not even gaming the stock market like that. They're probably just sitting back and waiting to, allow their money to accumulate, which is pretty much what I do. I don't buy and sell on a panic. I don't do that. So it looked like they told everybody at a certain point, they were like, you should rush into the market as soon as, you feel that it hit the bottom. The problem is it's almost impossible to calculate the bottom. So the reality is all you can do is get in and hope for the best. Put your money in, go to dividend-paying stocks, hope for the best. Gold dropped. Gold was higher. I think gold dropped. The low was 2,983, so it went below 3,000. And now it's back above 3,000, 3,100. So that's a good thing. Nvidia seems like it's on its way back up. I had noticed that Micron had dropped to $77. TSM is $158. AMD is below $100. SMCI post-split is like $36.71. Again, panic selling is panic selling. I don't panic sell. I just sit still and I just wait. And the reality is I knew that these tariffs were bullshit. I knew that Trump was going to back down. And I knew all you had to do was just sit there and wait. You just had to hold on for dear life, HODL. You had to hold on. You had to have diamond hands. But really, really quickly, the only other thing I want to think about is the fact that one thing and one person, I should say, that hasn't been mentioned, not even once during this entire situation, is Jerome Powell. Trump was trying to get Jerome Powell back in, 2019. He was trying to get Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. Back then, the interest rate was like 4.75% on a 30-year fix. He wanted Jerome Powell back then. In fact, he wanted them to raise interest rates because he was afraid inflation was building up. Sure enough, during COVID, what do you get hit with after they printed the money? You get hit with inflation. Now, Trump went to the Federal Reserve and was talking about the Federal Reserve. He's like, yeah, he wanted them to lower the interest rates. But the Federal Reserve is basically like an unelected and unaccountable entity. As far as I'm concerned, that's where people's attention really should be. We're supposed to only have three branches of government: the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. We're not supposed to have no fucking Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is something that they put in back when we had the Great Depression because, people, they wanted to control inflation ultimately and print money. And they wanted to force us off the gold standard because back then, when I talk about panic selling is part of the reason why there was no more gold standard. A lot of people sold their gold because of the panic. The reality is I think that was a plan. I really do. I think that was a plan. They wanted to sucker people out of the market. And they did, and they managed to do it. But notice, Trump hasn't made fun of Jerome Powell. He hasn't called him a single name, hasn't mentioned him during this whole time. And I personally believe at this point that what Trump was doing was he was crashing the economy because he was trying to get the Federal Reserve to back off of the interest rates, and he wanted them to lower the interest rates. And I think the Federal Reserve basically said, no, we're not doing it. And no matter what you do, it's not good. We're just not going to do it. The Federal Reserve, the last FOMC meeting, they said, yeah, we're gonna pause the rates. Some people think that if the Fed lowers rates, it'll help the housing market. I think it'll do the exact opposite. I think it'll cause more problems in the housing market. If they lower the interest rates right now, what would happen is a lot of these people who don't have enough money to really buy a house are suddenly going to want to rush in and try to buy a house. That's going to cause the mortgage applications to shoot up. I think the other issue is it's going to have what the effect is going to be called a reverse mortgage crash, because all of a sudden now you'll have so many people raising the demand. And if the demand goes up, then the people who have properties that they could possibly sell, they're going to raise the price of their properties. And they'll do it because they'll know, if the banks are lending money, then it'll be easier for you to get the money. So if my house is worth $300,000, but I demand, $350,000, if you really want a house, you're going to go out and do it. And a lot of these people, these are not mathematicians. These people are not that smart when it comes to, spending money. So a lot of people just run out and pay it, just like they did when they went out and bought Kia Tellurides and them Hyundai Palisades during the pandemic. These people paid way over sticker. They went out and bought Dodge Demons for over $200,000. They ran out and bought Hellcats for over $100,000. These cars aren't worth more than $50,000. These cars are shit tier quality. People ran out and they spent over $100,000 on this shit. And now they're regretting it because that negative equity is biting them in the ass. They want to buy into something else. They want to trade their cars. They want to get something new, and they can't even do it. They can't do it because the negative equities bit them right in the ass. So they have so much negative equity. It's unbelievable. And then they overpaid. So not only do they have the negative equity, you have to add on the overpayment that you're not getting back. And the insurance company in many cases didn't factor that in. So if something happened, the car gets totaled, they're not paying for that damage. They're not paying that extra money that you wasted. So a lot of these people are screwed. A lot of these people are trying to get out of these vehicles. A lot of these people have these vehicles for maybe the next 5 or 6 years because they got these loans very recently. And then they realize, oh shit, The housing market is a fucking mess. And because my debt to income ratio is so high because of this car, I can't even buy a house. So they went out and bought that bullshit BMW Competition M3 or that stupid ass Competition. Oh, look, we got an X5 and it's got black brake calipers. Yeah, you're going to pay more for this. They went out and bought that shit. Now they can't get rid of it. They went out and bought the Mercedes, the AMG this, AMG that. Oh, you know what? It's just a 4-cylinder, but it says AMG on it, so it must be fast, right? They went out and wasted all that fucking money, and now can't get rid of those cars because they're stuck on those payments. They got negative equity, and then if they did get rid of that car, well, now they got to buy something else, and they can't. So all I'm saying is lowering interest rates is probably a bad idea. When interest rates are high, that's when you actually have, how should I say, responsible spending. When the interest rates are low, you have irresponsible spending. Lowering interest rates at this point will probably cause a reverse mortgage crash. Lowering interest rates at this point is also going to piss a lot of people off because they bought stuff at higher interest rates, and now the depreciation is set in. They can't refinance. So, they're screwed. They're just, whatever money they overpaid, they just lose. It's just that simple. I'm sorry. That's what it is. So the market is up. The market definitely is up. Even the crypto market, which I'm not even going to talk about right now because, I'm not interested in it. Capital One, JP Morgan Chase is a solid, $234. Now, look, I want you to look at the performance graphs for the banks. Look at JP Morgan Chase. Up, up, up. Even with that little dip, even with that little cough, that hiccup, up, up, up. Capital One, up, up, up. Look at Citigroup. It had a bit of a hiccup. It's still up, up, up. Wells Fargo, hiccup, up, up, up. It's still going right back up. Bank of America, hiccup, back up. Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs was below $500 earlier today. Right back up above $500. Goldman Sachs also pays me a 2.55% yield. Very happy for that yield. But that's just what it is. It's like they sucker poor people and people who just are skittish. They sucker them out of the market. And then the rich people rush in and they buy right when they know that the market's about to go back up. They caught Major Taylor Green. MTG. They caught her ass insider trading. They're still not going to do nothing about Nancy Pelosi and NVIDIA. They're still not going to do nothing about that. These Congress people know what's coming. They know what they're voting on. They're insider trading. Nobody is going to be held to account. Nobody's going to be impeached. They'll forget about it in a couple of months. They forgot about Nancy Pelosi and NVIDIA, so why not? You got Visa right here, $332. MasterCard right back up. MasterCard was $470 this morning. Right now, MasterCard's at $515 at a high at $518. And it's basically going to go right back up to $5. This is why I kept telling you. I was like, yeah, banks, credit cards, oil, gas companies, those are the best things that you could buy. Regardless what happens, they all pay dividends. The market may go down, but you still getting your dividend payment. And when the market shoots right back up, 3,000 fucking points in one day, when the market shoots right back up, you win. And that's what I've always said. I've never strayed from that belief, and that's the belief that I invest by. So I know there's people who are new here and everything. I say it very, very simply. This year, I'm putting $10,000 into the market. I'm just splitting it up between banks, credit cards, because I want more credit card shares because these things are up. Americans are fucked. Americans are using credit cards to buy motherfucking eggs, for God's sakes. Credit cards, the stock pays dividends, and the stock is up, up, up. And that's the bottom line. When you look at the rich, where they're putting their money, banks, oil companies, credit cards. Look at Warren Buffett. He sold off his tech. I'm not selling nothing. I'm not panic selling. He sold off his tech because he knew that these tariffs were going to be suicide for tech. He knew it. But that's just what I'm doing. All right, so my charge is just finished. So let's go out, unplug. So I got one Cadillac Lyric right behind me waiting. All right. Got a Honda Prologue. I think a Kia something or rather. Probably a Hyundai something or rather over there. All right. Yep. I feel like going to Micro Center. I want to see if they got video cards back. I mean, I'm over here.
Abusing in many ways, destroying our children. I know
If you want to talk about destroying your children, you can talk about TikTok turning your kids into fucking zombies and idiots. And the Chinese know it. See, that's the reason why they give us the stupid version of TikTok. They got their kids learning. When I was in China, you watch TV. China's TV is educational. Everything is pro-China, CCP, pro-government. If they see anything that's anti-China, they take that shit right down. Turn that shit right off. My government is too stupid to do that. My government allows psyops to come in from other countries and corrupt our own goddamn citizens. And they're too stupid to turn the shit the fuck off. It's amazing. Some new Model 3 right there. You know, so, you know, that's just, China's laughing at us. At the very beginning of this video, I posted the video that China made to mock Donald Trump, to mock him. And they'd be like, yeah, oh, you think you're going to put 104% tariffs on us? Well, you're a fucking idiot, and we're mocking you. And simultaneously, they still running TikTok here. I thought we had won. I thought TikTok was dead. And then Trump turned the shit right back on an hour later. That just tells me that my government has no motherfucking will. It has no spine, no willpower whatsoever. It took them years to ban that shit. And even when they did, you got this guy come right back and turn the shit right back on. It's incredible. If it was me, I would have flicked that goddamn switch so fucking hard. They would have tried to impeach me. And I would have stood up to the impeachment, too, and I probably would have won. I would have said, no, this is a national security threat, and they're stealing our information, and they're turning our kids into fucking morons. So it's a national security threat, and the ban stays, and that's it. Not these people. These people are stupid, and they get what they deserve. Sorry. Lacerated testicles? What the hell are we talking about?
And so many black folks were defending him for this and saying, you know, this is how I was raised. And so, you know, I was called, you know, on TV, radio, and other outlets to say that this is not okay. And so I was invited to write another book about this, and it was
and anyway, I'm looking at all these foreign cars, this ugly ass Lexus. I could care less about the tariffs on them cars. I could care less if them cars go up $20,000 in value. I'm buying American anyway. If it came down to it, I'll buy a Tesla. I could care less. I'll buy a Tesla. Now, see, I have a Cadillac, so my car is American. For all these people with all this pretentious luxury, these fucking boring ass Lexuses, I could care less if the price goes up. So you could put them tariffs right in place. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I know it'll probably affect the parts market. That might be an issue. But, yeah. So, you know, that's how it is. I'm sorry. I think it's funny, the Tesla engineers, those are the cars they got. They got Hyundai Genesises. They got Subarus. Look at this. This guy probably is trying to trade that Scat Pack. In for a Fiat. No, I hope to God he's not trying to trade that piece of shit in for a Fiat. Shut up! Don't blow at me, goddammit. Yeah, I want to go into Micro Center. I want to see if they have the new Area 51 or if they have, if they got video cards back in the stock yet. I think they should have, because I can't imagine that these people got any money to be spending on that shit. I'd have to imagine that they got some of that stuff back in there. Get this guy. I'll let him go. He was waiting for a while. Yeah. Or her, I should say. Yeah, I'm gonna let this guy out. I don't want to park there. A lot of electric cars.
There's zero evidence that this type of ritualistic violence was used in pre-colonial West African culture.
All right. Yeah, I just want to see what they got in there. See if they got any goodies. See if they got the goodies. Yeah, that's the Alienware R16, but I want to get the Area 51. So, they don't have it yet. They do have, what is this? Is this the 38-inch monitor? No, it's only a 34. Yeah, $700. I already got a 34-inch monitor. I wanted the 38. I was going to upgrade, but I can wait. So that's the thing. A lot of people are scared that if those tariffs go through, all this fucking prices of this shit is going to skyrocket. I just wanted to see the video cards. I wanted to see, oh, they probably ain't got nothing here. They only got 5070s. Nobody wants their shit. That's why it's still here. 5070, 5070. So the tariffs are going to fuck all of this stuff up. Just 5070s, that's it. Nobody wants those. Those only got like 8 gigabytes. Like, they don't have enough memory. Okay, and I don't really care about AMD, but what is this? They got the, what is this called? I don't even know what this is. It's like they got to work on their goddamn packaging. I have no idea what the fuck that is. Okay, so it's a 7900 XT, $799, 20 gigabytes of memory. And that's all they have. They got like 7900 XTs. Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants 5070s. 5070s, that's what you buy your kid for their birthday when they say they want to play Minecraft in 4K. It's like nobody wants that shit. All right, well, I guess that was a short ride. I'm unimpressed. Color me unimpressed. Yeah, so they don't have what I want yet. They'll probably have it by the summer, I think. It may take some time. Yeah, they'll probably have it during the summer. It'll take some time to get it. God. Yeah, well, that's another tariff update. Crown Castle, huh? Another tariff update. Oh, Tesla Model 3. Yep. The tariff updates. See what traffic looks like. Yeah, you see these luxury buildings? That's what they're building now. And if you can't afford to move into one of these luxury buildings, if you can't afford to live in one of these luxury apartments, it's going to be real hard to find a place to live. Because the thing about it is, these developers, that's all they want to build now. They just want to build luxury condos. Those things are way more expensive than my house. Like, they want like $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 for some of those things. It's like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Even if you can buy it and own it and get equity out of it, who the fuck wants to live with these other people in a place like that? It's like, and the place doesn't really change. Like, the facade might change, but that's about it. I don't think I could do that. Not unless I was in another country. If I was in another country, yeah, no problem. Who is this? Pro something standard. University of Florida. Yeah. It's another boring day coming to an end. Well, it's almost spring break. I know some people get spring break early, but it's almost spring break for us here in New York. So, yeah, that's something to be excited about, I suppose. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens on the next episode of Trump tariffs.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating. Sell America fast because you're going to go busted.
To be continued.